within the context of the Anglophone crisis, as the paper writes on the ongoing marginalization, as it questions if Anglophones are too inferior and incompetent to lead head posts of the presidency, the Secretary General at the presidency, finance, amongst other posts. Now, what do you think about this grievance advanced by Anglophone minorities in Cameroon?
Well, the issue in Cameroon is quite a complex one because the Anglophones are equally being marginalized as every other Cameroonian based on the system and structures which are in place. It doesn't offer the Cameroonians the opportunity and the access to be able to decide their own future. And I think that it all has to do with leadership, and it is this leadership that creates the impression that the Anglophones are being marginalized. It is a system which is designed not by the Cameroonians. It was instituted by the imperialists, and that is why it has not been to the advantage, especially to the people of the Northwest and the Southwest, because they, being English speaking, as a matter of fact, feel heavily abused under the system according to how the Francophones are in the same system as well. But the effect is more on the English side than in the French side. But the system in general does not offer room for Cameroonians to be able to harmonize themselves under a system which meets the demands of all its different ethnicities and both the English speaking and the French speaking. So that is a huge challenge that we are facing in Cameroon today, whereby a lot of the Anglophones do not understand, as a matter of fact, from history, that the English Cameroon was actually sold to France. And that is why it was in the ideology and the notion of assimilating the Anglophones to the French system. And that was why the very reason why Ahidjo was put in power in the early 60s to make sure that the Anglophones are brought into the French system. And when the French had achieved that using Ahidjo, they brought in now His Excellency Paul Biya to do what we call the assimilation process, which we all remember when he went to France, he told Macron that the plan of assimilation did not work. So you come to realize that Cameroon is being purely guided, teleguided by the West on what happens to the future and the destinies of the Cameroonian. So this is a very huge challenge, whereby I think that even if tomorrow the country ends up in seceding, it still doesn't solve the problem, because the imperialists will still be on both sides, because they are the genealogies of the very things that the Anglophones are fighting to defend today. So the Cameroonians need to grow beyond the mentality of having to be controlled or using systems which, as a matter of fact, does not meet the demands of the spirit of its own nation. So we should be able to come together and restructure and change some of these policies which are causing all of these problems that we are having today in Cameroon. That only gives the West an advantage over a people who are fighting among themselves.